ARMY and Coldplay fans, it has been just over a day since the official video for My Universe has been released, and it already has over 20 million views. So obviously the song and the video itself have been super well received. Now the video has a lot going on with it, so that's why I really wanted to make this video explaining everything that we see in this music video. And hey, if you're new to this channel and haven't done so yet, I would encourage you to please subscribe. Now without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so right off the bat, we can tell that this video deals a lot with this story, right? So I wanted to start off with what we see at the very beginning of the video with those words that kind of explain exactly what's going on. So it reads, "Once upon a time, many years from now, music is forbidden across the spheres. On 3 different planets, 3 different bands defy the ban. DJ LaFreak on her alien radio ship unites them via holoband. All the while, they are hunted by the silencers." So this first part sets up the story, right? It explains that there are a few different characters and a few different planets. So we know there's Coldplay and BTS, right? But then there's also another band called Supernova 7, and then the character DJ LaFreak, and then there are the bad guys called the silencers. Now, as far as the planets go, Coldplay is on Florus, BTS is on Calypso, and Supernova 7 is on Super Solus. Now, just a small detail of something that we saw at the beginning of September, Phil Harvey tweeted out, in response to somebody who asked how much longer until we get a new single, he said, "Not too long now, just waiting till Epiphany, Calypso, and Florus line up in the right way." So we have the 2 planets, Florus and Calypso, that BTS and Coldplay are on in this video, and then we have Epiphany, which is actually the planet related to the song My Universe. So back at the beginning of September, we were kind of speculating what that meant, and it appears this is exactly what Phil was talking about. Now, getting back to the story, we have the character DJ LaFreak, who's basically making everything possible, creating that holoband between Coldplay, BTS, and Supernova 7. And it's kind of interesting to think about when Phil was talking about when these planets align, is if this holoband was only possible when these planets are aligned. Now, I don't know if that's kind of just part of the lure or if that's just me making things up, but I think that would be kind of a nice touch to add to this lure, add to this story. Now, if you've seen the video, they do a very good job of representing what's going on. We have BTS, Coldplay, DJ LaFreak, and Supernova 7, who are all kind of the rebels, right? They are trying to perform music, play music for possibly the other planets, kind of overcoming this ban that the silencers put on no music. And to me, the most important thing that I got out of this whole video is that the song lyrics and overall meaning of the song are demonstrated throughout this video. It shows that love knows no bounds and can really be shared across any distance. And this video does a good job of reinforcing this idea that people can really come together despite difficulties. Now, what one can get from this and what is kind of commonly understood is that everything that's going on in this video, in this song, really demonstrates what we've been going on in the last year and a half, almost 2 years now. Of course, the global pandemic made it difficult for musicians to play live, in a sense kind of silenced things, right? And the idea of togetherness was almost just a far-off dream. But in this video, they were able to overcome that through holograms, right? And that's kind of what we had to do. You know, we weren't able to physically be together, but we were at least still able to enjoy each other's company through video calling, or, you know, Coldplay had that concert, the Together at Home things, you know, a lot of artists participated in those. So it was interesting to see how the meaning of the video related to us personally over the last 2 years. And I think even stepping back a little from the video, it's important to realize that the sense of togetherness is included in both the band's decision to work together. You know, despite everything going on with the pandemic, Coldplay and BTS were able to make this collab possible, and I think that's kind of a true testament to this message, this overall meaning of the song. So it's just kind of cool to put that in perspective of, you know, oh my gosh, so many different difficulties going on, the silencing of music, the lack of togetherness, but Coldplay and BTS still came together, did this collab despite all of that going on. Now, it's interesting because something else to kind of point out is that there was a very specific detail that a few people mentioned about the ship of the silencers. It looks a lot like a coronavirus. And because of that, it obviously fed into this overall theme of overcoming the difficulties that the pandemic has had on us over these last 2 years. Now, I also wanted to talk about what happens at the very end of the video because it can be a little bit confusing, so I kind of just wanted to break that down and explain what is going on. So we have DJ LaFreak, right, who I mentioned is kind of making everything happen with the hollow bands, making sure that music is being played. And she's on her own ship that kind of has this heart logo at the front of it. Now, the silencers, who again are the bad guys, are able to locate her and completely stop the music, right? And just as the silencers are about to capture DJ LaFreak, Coldplay, BTS, and Supernova 7 start playing music even though they've been cut off. And it's because they're able to continue playing music that they're able to buy enough time for DJ LaFreak to escape. So again, this kind of just demonstrates another hopeful message. Even despite them being cut off and everything, just all hope being lost, they're still able to make things happen. They're still able to make music and have kind of a positive spin on things. But something that I absolutely love about this part of the music video is that it represents exactly what's going on in the song. We have the normal, main part of the song, then things are cut off for a second, and they bring everything back for a reprise of the final melody, of the final kind of chant and cheering. Now, I don't know what came first, the idea to have that in the song or the music video and they represented it in the song, but I think the overall direction of that just made so much sense, and that made me really happy to see them make sense out of that part in the music. Now, something that I really wanted to talk about in this video is how much this music video relates to Mylo Xyloto. Now, if you're not familiar with Mylo Xyloto, it was a Coldplay album that was released 10 years ago, almost exactly to date. And with this album so far, we already have so many similarities, and I kind of just wanted to run through them and also relate them to this music video. So with the album Mylo Xyloto, the first single that we ever heard was at the beginning of the year, around the same time of the year that Higher Power was released, obviously the first single of this album. 10 years ago, Coldplay also played at Glastonbury and played a new single off the album, and that same thing happened this year. They played Human Heart for the very first time. And then the album's just being released around the same exact time, mid-October. So as you can tell, there are already just so many similarities between Mylo Xyloto and Music of the Spheres. And this music video relates one more very specific similarity between the two albums. You see, with the release of the album Mylo Xyloto, they also published a comic that went along with the songs and overall theme of the album. And in this comic, the bad guys were known as silencers. And in the comic, it was a very similar theme where the population wasn't able to really perform music or do any kind of art form. So it's funny that we see the same name of the bad guys in that comic being represented here in this music video. Now, just to reinforce this idea and show that it's not just a coincidence, here's a quote from Chris. In the Mylo Xyloto era, we were starting to dance with the idea of a story set in another galaxy, and this time we've gone for it, fully. And personally, I just love this idea of storytelling, not only through lyrics and stuff, but just kind of creating this whole idea, this whole universe to play with these different characters and represent them in music videos. It's just a really cool concept to have this story, and it just gets me more interested in all the different characters and just in the music in general. And if there's one thing that we know for sure, it's that Coldplay is super intentional with everything that they do. And it's funny because we can see things represented from 10 years ago and even farther in this album. So this album has been in the works for a long time, and it's finally coming together in such a big way. And I also think that Coldplay was really intentional with choosing to collab with BTS, because they're the same way. They're very intentional with their music, what they're doing. They're not just, playing music for music's sake. They're really doing it with meaning and with purpose. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up is the character Angel Moon. Now, if you've been watching my videos, I've been talking about Angel Moon from the very beginning, and it appears that we saw her in this video. Now, if you're not really familiar with this character, let me catch you up just real quick. Now, in their last album, Coldplay they had this song called Cry, 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 and in it, they featured this vocalist they named Angelina. Now, the band said that Angelina was a female alien, but it was actually just Chris pitched up an octave. But it's funny because they said that we could see Angelina again in a future album. And back when we were hearing the rumors about Music of the Spheres, I speculated that we would would see her again in this album. Now obviously it's not the same exact name, but Angelina has the root word angel, and this character is seen as Angel Moon. Now the first time that we actually physically saw her was in the music video for Higher Power, where she was on this huge billboard and Chris was kind of just walking by her, and we saw her again appear at the end. So it was obvious that they wanted to use this character in this story. Now in the music video for My Universe, we get a character that looks very similar. In some of the shots of BTS playing, we see this flying character who looks an awful lot like Angel Moon. Now, I don't think it's really confirmed yet, but I think the fandom kind of accepts her as Angel Moon, and it'll be interesting to see if she appears more. I don't know if Coldplay will release another comic like they did for Mylo Xyloto, but I at least am very interested to know more about this character and see if she'll be in any more future music videos. And now real quick on to some other news. It looks like Coldplay is actually going to be having a UK tour. Now I know this was something that people were like, I don't know if Coldplay is going to tour anymore, and it looks like they at least want to, and at least in the UK they're starting. So we'll see this as it develops, and I'll definitely keep you updated on everything as it goes along. But this gives us a little bit of hope going on for the future. And with that, that is everything that I wanted to mention in this video. Now, of course, as I just mentioned, I'll be keeping you updated as we'll be getting into this album released in 2 weeks from today. So definitely make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of that information. And of course, there's going to be lots more after this album is released, so definitely subscribe for that too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.